the ability for a user to find exactly the correct documentation that he's looking for based on what he needs to do. So when I log in, it authenticates me. I have my documents based on my role in the company. I have my favorites, things that I use on a regular basis that I've tagged to really keep precedence on my home. I have tasks based on things I need to review and approve, new versions of a document that I need to confirm I read and I've adopted, as well as items that I'm monitoring based on my subscription and discussions of improvement requests, questions, incidents that I've posted, being able to track the discussions that are going around those and whether or not these change requests have actually been implemented. So it's not only for documentation, but really continuous improvement. From here, I could actually, without having to navigate anywhere, download the copy of the document that I use. So I can see here, download the documentation, no matter where it resides. Or I could actually even preview it online if I'm not sure if that's the correct document, or if I want to view it on my tablet or my mobile. From there, I have the ability to also download it and then print it directly. Also have the capability to view these documents online, such as wiki pages. And if I want to get more information about them, I can click from the home screen and it'll bring me directly to that wiki of that document. In this case, the standard operating procedure, which is a series of steps with all of its associated information, such as who are the roles responsible, the HR admin is responsible versus the HR manager accountable. I have an application link, meaning that I can open the associated tool directly to the specific screen where I do this work, as well as any additional user-defined attributes that we've tagged this document or wiki page so it's easy to find. Moreover, from here again, I have the ability to download or visualize based on my standardized template, this standard operating procedure with all of its contents, table of contents, introduction, roles and responsibilities, and the step-by-step procedures, and of course, downloading a copy. So what you'll notice here in this case, even though I'm previewing it and it's previewing as a PDF online, it is actually a Word version that I can actually go in and change in this case. But the value is that I'm always only downloading the latest version of the procedure, and the digital version and the text version are always kept in sync. Since now everything too is digitized, I actually have the ability to share direct links to any piece of information. If I want to share this document via email or in a chat group, as you see, it's sent to directly the download to the document. The value here is it will still authenticate the user and not provide him access if he doesn't have rights to access this document. Now, there's different ways to access a document. What if I didn't know where this document was in the overall organization? Our system supports full text search. So as I actually type, just like Google, it's giving me best recommendations based on the characters. So in this case, if I were to click again, employee onboarding standard operating procedure, it brings me right to that exact same document. But if I wasn't actually sure if that was the correct document, I can actually pull up all the search results, just like Google, which will order them based on quality of result and show me everywhere within the metadata as well as within the document itself where it found these words. So I can quickly ensure that I'm looking for the correct one and jump again back to that specific document or related information. Another way that we can access this document where general search is great, but you may get a lot of hits based on if you're not really sure what the name of the document is or any of the information about it. But you may know related information. So in this case, we have what's called the list view. The list view is actually similar to Windows Explorer, that you can actually navigate through your tree and update the associated documents depending on where you are in the tree. The difference is we have the ability to actually search the entire database and filter on the criteria at once, or drill down, which is actually a combination of both. Meaning, if I have no idea where it is, I can search across the entire system. But let's say I look for employee, which is part of employee. Then we say the role associate I know has something to do with HR. What if I said, well, I'm still not really certain which document it is, but I do know it's somewhere in Lufthansa. So it's now going to pass my hierarchy tree also as a filterable criteria, that now it's only searching not only the Lufthansa folder, but all the subfolders and still passing my related attributes as well, which now you can see here. If I were to pull up the roles, we have HR manager or HR admin that we saw earlier. I could pull up all the details about that actual document to ensure it's the correct one. And again, download or preview the document directly online without actually having to navigate further. So what's very powerful about this function and is from a knowledge management perspective, being able to filter based on uh, attributes of the documentation. And you can do the same thing, search and filter on user-defined attributes, which is also available within the tool. So the ease at which I could go in and change this document. So if I were to click on that, again, SOP that we were working on earlier, what you'll notice here is I'm currently looking at a draft version, but I can toggle the previous published version. So you see show latest versus show draft. We can see there's an additional section within the published version that's since been removed in the latest draft. So if we actually want to go in and edit this, we'll go in. Let's say we were to actually, we can go in and edit this URL to, let's go with http interfacing.com to open an external application or website. We can go ahead and actually copy paste another section to put back. Say we were to again put in some additional steps of the procedure. So we can copy paste from Word directly into the rich text editor of the web application. Very easy to work with. And we'll go in and actually add these additional steps. Let's do it after the image that we've embedded and go ahead and save those changes. Before I actually save it, what you'll notice here, this is where we were able to define the roles and responsibility, the HR admin versus the HR manager. If I want to add another level of responsibility, let's say the HR assistant needs to be informed of whenever it changes. So you'll notice we support all the RASCI. So you can set your different levels of responsibility and accountability very easily, as well as link any external documents, application links, videos that could also be used as referable information. Videos are very popular now because I could open the video directly online as well as my step-by-step procedure. I've also here user definable categories, types, as well as any attributes with user selection that you want to tag information, as well as we do support multi-language up to 160 languages. The value is you can manage one version of the document, but in reality have an English version, a German version, a Chinese version of the document, as well as all the related information. So it's localized per user reading the documentation. Now, actually, what if we want to, before publishing a new version, because now we've created a new version, I'll just show you that we do have the ability to actually set security very quickly. What you'll notice here, I can actually filter based on setting security via role, user, group. And if I go in and actually look for Matthias, let's say we do it via a specific user, I'm going to actually give him full control access to this document. What's interesting, which is unique about our system, I have the right to either give him edit rights, view only of published, view only of even draft. Why? Because maybe he doesn't have the right to edit, but we do want him to collaborate and provide input into new versions. Now, let's go ahead and set an approval cycle very quickly. We do support serial and parallel approval routings. Let's put that HR manager and let's go parallel and let's put it specific to myself as well. What it told me is that the HR manager didn't actually have an approver, a real person associated with it. So what you saw there was actually a validation that we need a resource who's a user assigned to that role. Otherwise, who's actually going to go in and approve it, right? So very nice. What I'll do here now, instead of, I don't actually have the ability to now publish directly. I could now toggle to the published versus the latest, but I'm actually going to send it through review and approval. And since I did assign that approval to myself, so here we're looking at the life cycle management, what you'll notice is Scott Armstrong is currently pending approval, right? So not only can I see when I go in to review it, not only can I see the document, but I can actually see other information that lets me assess it beyond all the changes within the document directly. I can also see who are the roles that are going to be impacted by this change. What are the systems going to be impacted? And downstream, looking at, oh, I can also see that that HR admin was assigned to other tasks. What you'll notice too, I received a notification directly to my browser that I have an approval to complete that I can click and bring me again directly to that review and approval. Same notification came in here up at the top, like in Google notifications, that I can filter and search for my notifications. I have a new approval required, and we have other types of notifications like revisions. So it's automatically scheduling and sending revisions to each user. From here, I actually can show changes. Before I actually approve, I want to highlight all the changes, just like in Word, track changes, but now the system's doing it automatically. And I can see all this section was deleted since the previous published version. And right, we've added this link, which the final version, right, was to interfacing.com, which I click, I can see, and added this new section, which is also highlighted in green. Moreover, not only is it tracking all the contents of that wiki page or document, but also the related information, such as what are the roles and their level of responsibility, the different application links, the different metadata. So from here, I actually have the ability to very quickly approve and now go ahead and send it through to publish to the final version. So the system, not only is it easy to access and to edit, but also we're looking at continuous improvement. So we looked at, from a governance perspective, that it enforces a proper approval cycles before it actually goes ahead. But what could trigger a change? One, a change could be triggered based on a review request, because we want our documentation to be revised on a periodic basis, whether that's quarterly, annually, and the system assigns that user a task to go and review to ensure the information's to date. Additionally, the other trigger could be a change request. So let's say that URL is incorrect, that application has moved. And I want to say it's a blocker because people, when they're actually running through to open up, cannot actually access it. Impact is very low. We just need to update the URL, and it's very high value, obviously, for anyone who's in training and doesn't know where to access it, or even the current users now that it's been moved. And I can put a deadline that I need it done by next Wednesday, as well as attach an external file if we are looking at other things, right? I'll just, as an example, attach your logo there. Oracle move to cloud, new URL. And what's nice about this is not only is it a post, but anyone who subscribed will, right, be able to collaborate, or if they're part of this document or this process or procedure, they again can download or really collaborate. They can vote for or against this change if they're involved in it. Now, this is a minor change that obviously everyone would approve, I would expect. Or he may say, I reject, I'm not for it. And I say, no, keep it as oracle.interfacing.com, meaning instead of updating the training material to point to the new URL, I want you from IT to actually go ahead and use the same URLs in the past, because otherwise we have to retrain everyone. And everyone knew it, whereas people won't know the new URL, something to learn. And what you'll notice here, I could actually uh, filter based on objects that are to approve. In this case, it needs to be actually approved versus to implement versus implement, meaning change requests and whether or not they were implemented or not. So, but not only can any user that's involved in this visualize it here, but of course, he'll have it within his notifications. If I pull up all those notifications, as you can see, the user can actually filter based on the object, the type of whether it's a discussion, whether it's a new version of an object, a revision history between specific state ranges, as well as centrally from the collaboration section, the quality group can track all requests, the quality group, the documentation group, to ensure everything's kept to date. And as an end user, they could actually track their own requests. So I can see those that are currently open and priority as critical. Very quickly, as you see, I'm filtering again all that information and can jump directly to anything. So if we were to now look for the one that we mentioned about Oracle, well, one, I could see it's already at the top because it's filtered based on request date. But if I look for Oracle, again, very similarly, not only does it bring me to that same document, but very quickly pulls up the discussion thread around it. And finally, around the governance of this, right? Those revision cycles you can set centrally from the quality and documentation that it actually schedules tasks to people. You can set different targets of level of maturity. So ensuring that today, if we could be at a level 1 in terms of our documentation, but we want to be at a level 3 by, let's say, the end of the month, and level 3 by end of the month. Our current maturity, we'll say, is at 1 on this document, and I want to be 4, let's say, by October, and maybe next year we'll be at level 5. The value of this is that then centrally from the quality and documentation, I could actually track and monitor the current versus the targets and how we're actually progressing with overall governance. So not only within our solution are we managing governance from a lifecycle management, but also from continuous improvement and centralized tracking. Thank you very much. There's a lot more to the value of our solution. I think this gives you a very quick intro.